Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Ooh, excuse me. Uh, in terms of announcements, it is SudokuCon this coming weekend. So I hope to see some of you there. I am giving a talk on the math of puzzles, where I'll talk about a bunch of different things that should be fun there. However, if you are not at SudokuCon, as I suspect many of you will not be, but I look forward to meeting those of you who are, the talk will be live streamed by the SudokuCon people, but I also intend to do a sort of stream where I go through the talk slides and talk with you all about it at some point once it is all over. So if you would like to hear me talk about the math of puzzles and talk about all the kinds of things I normally avoid fervently talking about, then that will be for you. So you can look forward to that. The other consequence of the fact that it is SudokuCon is that means that we are traveling this weekend, and also that because I'm having to rearrange my schedule, I'm also busier. So that means probably today's stream and Tuesday's stream will be shorter than usual as I sort of try and arrange all of this stuff. And Sunday's stream will not exist, as in next Sunday, because Sunday we'll be traveling back from Boston to Iowa. So anyway, even if you're not going to SudokuCon, it has some impacts on you. Some of them I hope good, and some of them perhaps bad if you really like sort of your maximum amount of stream. But things will return to sanity eventually, I am told. You may sense from this I am not a big traveling person. Anyway, I am mostly looking forward to it being over. But I do think it will be very exciting to meet a bunch of abnormally tall cats and other folks who happen to be there. And I have been working a lot on the talk, and so I am quite excited to give it and talk about that and share some of that stuff. Hey, Silva, welcome back. Great to see you. All right, yeah, that is true. You can just browse a past Zeta stream and then pretend that you're seeing it live, and that whatever comments you are giving, I am just ignoring, which perhaps is just a very accurate representation of what it is normally like. My understanding is that all the talks from SudokuCon will be live streamed and archived where you can see them. I know that there's some sort of I think most of it is free, but then there's also some virtual thing. I don't understand the exact way that works. Perhaps Tallcat, as the one of the executors of SudokuCon, can answer the exact question. But I will definitely go through the talk on stream at some point where you can see at least my thing afterwards. So I'll make sure of doing that. And I might attempt to make a more sort of video format for the math channel of it at some point. We'll see. It wouldn't be exactly the same because the talk assumes that you're familiar with all of these crazy Sudoku constraints, which would probably not be the case for a general audience. But anyway, it will be fun. That is my expectation. And you will learn things about yin yang that I pray you never use. Okay. So I think that's all the SudokuCon stuff there. It has occurred to me several times that it's sort of funny that I will see people at SudokuCon and I will have no idea who they are, even if I know them, but everyone who sees me will know who I am. I was at one point thinking oh, should I wear a Zach t-shirt so people will know who I am? And then I realized that in fact that is probably not a strict necessity in order for people to know who I am, which is the sort of internal musing that goes on in the Zeta brain. Okay, so we have, as voted for, And then I realized what a camera is. Yeah, something very much like that. Uh, uh, all right. So our most voted puzzle today is a BenceJoful Coral Starbattle. We do love BenceJoful Starbattle hybrids here. So funnily enough, this is a 2-star Starbattle that is 2 stars in difficulty. This is the oldest puzzle out of, funnily enough, a 43-way tie. So we break ties in favor of the oldest puzzle when there are things. And so we have this puzzle was voted for by David, Russ, Ambrose, Luda, Doomdiat, and Woofer. So thank you all for your support. I see that I've gotten a ping on the SudokuCon server. Let's see. Looking for a responsible person. Okay, well, that's not me. Okay. So let's read the rules of the puzzle. And by the way, if you enjoy this and you have not seen and you have not seen these, then BenceJoful has a long series of puzzles where they have combined Starbattle and another pencil puzzle genre. And these puzzles have almost uniformly been excellent. I think there was maybe one that I fussed about slightly. But anyway, I strongly encourage you to go back and look at these if you have not, because they are truly a treasure trove of these things. And Starbattle is a genre we don't see too often, I believe, because Starbattle is basically actual torture to set, but it's super fun to solve. And so BenceJoful has gone through the torture part, and you just get the fun part of solving them. Okay. As part of my talk, I went back and I looked at like how many of some various genres of puzzle there are on Puzzlink versus LMD for various time periods, because I'm talking about yin yang, and one of the things you might notice about yin yang is that there are literally 6 yin yang puzzles posted in an entire year period on Puzzlink, as opposed to a bunch of other genres. And I suspect Starbattle is probably also one of the genres that is less represented than some others because it is such a pain to set. Okay, so what are our rules? So we have to shade some cells so that all shaded cells form one orthogonally connected region. That's going to be the coral. We're going to make that orange. So the orange is going to connect all the way through the grid. And all other cells must orthogonally connect to the edge of the grid. Those are going to be the water. We'll make them blue. And so just as my method of trying to distinguish, because like a lot of pencil puzzles are phrased in terms of shaded and unshaded, which is, as David sort of hints, grossly unhelpful. I try to like color code and think about what they mean thematically. So in this case, there's a coral, which is either orange or purple, depending on my mood. And then there's water, which is blue, depending on my mood. And the blue always connects to the edge, and there's only one coral. And if you're curious, like, what is the difference between this and cave? So there's 2 main differences. So the one main difference is that in a coral, no 2x2 can be entirely coral. It's not really a coral if it's got a 2x2 in it, I suppose. But also the clues outside the grid in coral are quite different. And so what they represent is the lengths of the coral. So this is sort of nonogram style. For once, I remembered the name nonogram. I don't know why that... Every time I want to reference nonograms, I always say, like, that one where you something, something, something. Well, these are nonogram style clues, except they're not in order. So they give you the length of the coral where given. So there's a string of 1 and a string of 8 coral. Unfortunately, I can't color code them, so we're going to have to just keep track ourselves. And in this case, there's a 1, a 1, a 1, and a 4, for example. But you don't know the order. Okay, so, and if there's no clue, then you have no information. Okay, so let's see. Let's do our traditional count. Oh, sorry, by the way, I should also mention that there's a Starbattle. Oh, excellent. David has already counted, so I don't have to count. And we need to place 2 stars in each row and column and unshaded region such that they do not touch, even diagonally. Okay, so so basically the water is what gets the stars. So the coral never gets a star. And we have to be quite careful. Okay, so this row has an 8 in it. So that seems like the place that I would want to start. So no matter which 8 I shade, I always, and I said the coral was going to be orange today, so the coral is going to be orange. I always shade these. And the 7 is quite similar. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the way, if you want to figure this out, if there's a 7 length, what cells have to be shaded? The way you do it is you count 7 from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, highlight that, and then count 7 from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The ones that overlap, those are the ones that you have to have. And so there's no 2x2s. So we'll go ahead and make that water. And that immediately gives me this piece because there's a 6 here. And that gives me all of the water down here. And so that gives me some water in both of these places. Okay, now the 7, we know where it is, because now the 7 has got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So the 7 is done, the 6 is done. Okay, this column only has 3s, so we know that this is definitely a 3. Note, there can be a 2x2 of water. The rules don't have anything to say about that. But I am going to mark that I know that this cell is not a bomb. And the way I know that this cell is not a bomb is that every blue region has 2 bombs, but every column also has 2 bombs. So all the bombs are already gone from this water region over here. So I need one more 3. The question is, if I put it up here, then I guess I would need to make both of these bombs, which is crazy. Also, weird Zeta thing. Zeta always calls the stars in a Starbattle bombs for reasons that humanity has been unable to discover. Okay, so chat has pointed out that the 1, 3, 6 row is now interesting because I can't fit 6 over here, so I have to fit the 6 over here, but that just is 6. Okay, so that's blue, and the blue connects to the outside of the grid, so that's blue because we've got that. I do have a tool if I need to that lets me sort of draw on top. Actually, I think there's actually a built-in tool now. Oh, but I can't touch this. Tristan told me I'm not allowed to touch this puzzle. So I can't use it. There's a built-in Sudoku Pad beta feature that lets you draw on the grid. But yeah, I can use if I can make it come up somewhere. What is happening? There we go. I can use my other drawy tool. Let's see if I put it over there. That I think will work okay. I can draw on this to say the 7 is done. One of the 3s is done. The 6 is done, like that. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think if the 3 is down here, does it break? Or if the 3 is up here, does it break? I don't think I quite know yet. But perhaps Martin has... well, I do know all the bombs are up here. I guess that's what... To answer Martin's question, I do know that all of the bombs are up here. Oops. I don't know how I made that white randomly. But I don't see why I couldn't... Oh! I can't make this a 3 because of a 2x2. Okay, so it has nothing whatsoever to do with the bombs that I can't put the 3 up here. There's just no place I can put a 3 up here because bomb stuff. And so we actually can do that, and I can do that. Okay. So I likewise know that there's bombs in the water over here. Row 8 has more known orange. Is this row 8? Oh, no, this is the row 8. I see. So in here, what MathPesto is saying is that there's a 1 and a 3. And the 1 and 3, there's only two options, which are that option and that option. I've just drawn in separate rows. So these two are always orange as the overlap of those two. Okay, and so this has to be a bomb is, I guess, the takeaway from this, because I can't make both of these bombs. In fact, I suppose I could have figured out that every water cell in this row is a bomb, because there are only two water cells in this row normally. Just because 1 + 3 + 6 is 10, and there's two water cells between them, that might have been a clever thing to do. Oh, I can cross out the 6, by the way. But we have that. We can't fit both the 1 and the 4 over here. So over here, there's either a 4 or a 5. Because I certainly can't fit... I mean, I guess maybe that's the easy thing. I can't fit the 4 and the 5 over here. So there's definitely a 4 or a 5 over here in this row, and therefore all of those are coral. That is a way to say this that makes this work, I think. Okay, can I possibly even fit a 1 and a 5 over here? No, I cannot fit a 1 and a 5 over here. But I can't fit the 1 over here at all, is what has become apparent through this process. And so, therefore, I have to have the 1 and 4 over here and the 5 over here. And so the 1 and 4 over here now look either like that or like that in the other row. And so the overlap is that these are always coral and this is always a bomb, because we, again, only have two... and then I ran out of words. We, again, only have two things. The 4 is kind of interesting in this column because I certainly can't fit the 4 anywhere down here. So I think this is always part of the 4. Yeah, that's the way to think about it. I can't fit the 4 down here because it'll make a 2 by 2. So the 4 has to go into these cells. And by usual nonogram stuff, if I have to fit a 4 in these cells, it always makes those two orange. And so that is blue. Okay, but now I've got to ask where the 3's going, because the 3 can't go up here, so the 3 has to go down here, but literally the only place it can go is there. So that is the 3 in this column, which makes that also blue. So now we've got two 1s, I suppose. Okay, so... I can't fit both 1s up here because my 4 either looks like that or like that, which I guess also, again, tells me that that's got to be orange once I point out that, yeah, in order to get two 1s, I've got to make that 1, and then I've got to have a 1 up here with the 4. I did that slightly out of order, but hopefully that made sense. So there's a 1 done out of that column. Hey, Mekti, how are you doing? Let's see. Looking at Emma's point, 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 is 9, and there's 3 gaps, that's 12. So therefore, these are always both coral. Let's see. And in this column, sorry, I tried to highlight it, but I can't. 1 plus 4 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 gaps is 12. So that's always orange. Yes, in row 10, João is reading the clues in the grid, which I always appreciate. Also, I just saw randomly that someone in the SudokuCon Discord has a Commander Keen Discord avatar, and that delights me. So therefore, we've got that, and so that's one of the twos. Can't go any bigger than that. Okay, there's a good question from Mekti. Where are the 2 stars in column 5? And we know I can't put one there, so therefore I have to put them here and here. Oh, that breaks. Uh-oh, that's bad, because that's broken. Oh, no. Sorry, there. Right, sorry. I can't put any stars. Sorry, I can't count. I can't put any stars in this ocean that aren't in this column, because that's taken. So therefore, I have to put them here and here. My counting is not good. That is what we have learned. Although, I guess regular channel viewers are not learning anything new. Let's see. Yeah, we've got a 1, 3 over here. We've got another 1, 2. Let's see. Row 1 is mostly forced, I am told. Okay, so the 4, what Silva is saying, the 4 in this row can't go over here. So the 4 has to go over here. But again, there's only sort of 2 options for what that looks like. And they sort of leave this here. But then the 4 can only possibly go with a 1. It can't go with a 2. And so then the 2s are over here is what Silva is saying. So we get that. Now, every body of water has 2 stars in it. So this body of water has to grow in order to possibly have 2 stars in it. So normally you couldn't do that, but we can here. Now, this piece of coral needs to connect to the rest of the coral, so I can't make that cell coral. If I do, then it disconnects it completely. Because if I make that cell coral, now this is ocean and it's not connected. So that's ocean and this is coral, and we've finished our 4 there. So we've got that. Okay, and that also finished our 1, so that column is now just done. Okay. Right, I know that this is not, yeah, I can X this recreationally if I like. Okay. 1, 2, and 5 over here. 1, 4, and 5 over here. Only no 2 by 2 for coral. 2 by 2s of water are okay. Let's see. Here we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps. Okay. This row also needs to have an orange over here. And this cell can't be part of a 4. I learned this trick somehow from a similar coral puzzle we did. Hopefully we didn't do this exact puzzle. But this can't be part of the 4, so therefore it's part of the 1. Because if it was part of the 4, it would make it a 5. So we can actually sort of grow that over there. Okay, if this is coral now, we actually create a forced two twos, and this row doesn't have two twos. So that's actually forced to be water. Okay, so one of these two is the 2, and one of them is the 3, so everything else is a 1. So therefore, this is a 1, and it grows up like that. Uh, Also, we need 3 ones, and if you ask where the third 1 is, it can only be there, because that's 2 ones. So that's got to be the third 1, like that, which then gives us all of that. Water needs to be at least a little bit big in order that the water each contain 2 bombs. So we have this creeping up now. Now in this column, there is no 3, so it has to grow, but now it's a 5. We have to avoid a 2 by 2. We can mark off that 5 in a way that I'm not proud of, but we're going to have to live with. Okay, so now we need a 4 and a 1, and I think that can only possibly... Oh, yeah, we sort of again have the 2 options that look like this with the 1, 4. What puzzle did we do that was similar to this very recently? I don't remember. Okay, so avoid a 2 by 2 over there. This has to be water because if it's coral, we again disconnect the coral. So that's water and that's coral. Emma says, I think it was this. Did we do this exact puzzle like just like a week ago? I mean, that's not impossible that we did this exact puzzle like a week ago. The layout doesn't look quite the same to me, but I think we did a very similar puzzle. Yes. We need the water there, and we can grow both of these waters and the coral. The coral grows again. Both these waters assuredly need to grow. That has certainly made the 8 here go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now that's water. Can't have a checkerboard and a cave layout because you would do the thingy. So there are no checkerboards in a coral because if I connect the orange to the orange, it breaks. Okay, so this needs to be coral for lots of reasons. The reason I saw was not the easy one. The reason I saw is that it would put 3 bombs potentially into this, but the smart reason is because this coral needs to connect to its friends. And so therefore both of these are bombs because we need an appropriate number of bombs in our thing. We've got our 1 in this column, actually. It's there. So therefore, So therefore, this is a 2, and this is a 5 to finish up that column. If we really did do this puzzle like a week ago, this is certainly going to be by far the fastest I've ever accidentally redone a puzzle. The other column 1 star, definitely. And so that also concludes stars for this row. This water has to grow. And whatever the 2 stars in here are, they're the 2 stars for this column. So we can do those. And now this body of water, actually, if you look at it, one of the tricks for Starbattle is that no 2 by 2 can have more than 1 star. So I can only fit 1 star in there, and I need 2 stars in this body of water. So that's definitely a star, which then knocks those 2 out and places a star here. Also, speaking of, we can gray that cell because it's adjacent to a star. So the other star in this body of water / this column is there. Okay. So Oh yeah, row 5, I can X the other water. That sounds good. So we know there's a bomb in one of these two that we could say something about. Yeah, I kind of think that we did a Bence puzzle with these rules, but it wasn't this one, because I don't remember this shape of grid. Right, there's one orange here. I don't think I quite know where the two bombs are, but I do know that they're quite restricted. Oh, this can't be a 2. That's the thing I'm supposed to say. If this is a 2, then that's water and this just dies. So this has to be a 1, which means this coral grows and therefore this water grows. Which gets us one of our 1s in this column. Okay, I know one of these is the second 2. Not quite sure. Hey, Pink Maple, how are you doing? Row 8, column 12 is 1 or 4 equals 5. Is 1 what? Okay. This can't be part of the 4. Oh, I think I just counted to 8 wrong. I'm guessing this is actually row 8. And so this is the same trick. If this were part of the 4, it would be a 5. Okay, so we can orange that. And so now that 4 needs to fit with a 4 and a 1. And so we get that. This grows. This is orange for the 4-1 trick. I think David is a little behind because I think I made that coral a while ago. I know this water grows somehow. If this water doesn't grow, then those are both bombs, which would clear bombs out of these rows and force these two to be bombs, but I don't know that breaks. Hey, Term, how are you doing? Oh, you said it just as I was placing it? That sounds about right. Oh, this row has a 1-8 clue, and we've placed the 1. So we can do that, and now we definitely know where the bombs here go. I suspect some in chat knew where they went a long time ago because people were talking about it. Okay, so there is that arrangement. Oh, and that's our 4 for this column. So that's water. That grows. This assuredly grows. Oh, the 1, 3, 6 is done in this row. Good. Let's see. Yeah, Kale, I've been wondering if I solved this exact puzzle or a very similar puzzle. If I solved this exact puzzle, we took a very different path through it the previous time, but I definitely solved a puzzle with a very similar rule set. It's possible that this was also the most voted puzzle a couple weeks ago, and I didn't notice. until too late. I know one of these two is coral for this. Oh, this is definitely a bomb, right? Agree. Because of the row. Let's see. There is a single one over here. Water in column 8 can't grow up. Is this column 8? Yeah, this is column 8. Oh, this water, sorry, column. Yes, this has to be coral because otherwise I bulk too much stuff together and I have to avoid checkerboard / I have to connect, take your pick. So this water goes down and we know that this is that. Okay, so now there definitely do have to be two bodies of water down here. Oh, maybe not. 1 second, by the way. I'll be right back. Josh checked it was the same puzzle, yes. Well, it was just... Oh, sorry. That's the button I'm supposed to press. So, sorry about the repeat, but it's a delightful puzzle regardless of whether whether I have already done it or not. Oh, this column only has 1s and 2s, so that's always water. And now... Oh, I guess this orange has 2. Oh, this orange can't connect through here because that would create a 4, and this row doesn't have a 4. So therefore, it has to connect through there. So nice we had to solve it twice. Indeed. Okay. Oh yeah, this bomb placement is certainly forced. Yes. Agree. And so then that is going to gray out these rows because we have created like a quasi X-wing on bombs. And so now that actually resolves the bomb placement over here, as I had previously mentioned. This column has all its bombs. So actually, this body of water, its shape is resolved by the fact that it needs a second bomb, and it needs to go in this column. Very cool. I feel like our solve path was very different. We didn't rule this out as a bomb. We just needed 2 bombs in here. But it is a good point, actually, that does rule out that as a bomb. So we got all of that, and now this needs to be the last bomb for the bottom row, which certainly takes care of that. Okay, so now hopefully this row, in fact, has 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. It does. And hopefully this row has 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. It does. Oh, row 1's water is done because we now are at 1, 2, 2, 4. Good. So this water has to grow. This can't be orange now because of the disconnecting the coral thing. If this is orange, then that's blue by 2 by 2, and that's blue by clue. And that's no good. So we can orange, orange, and now we can blue that cell. This water needs to grow because I can't fit a bomb entirely in this 2 by 2. Because I need 2 bombs in the water. So this needs to grow at least to be larger than a 2 by 2. Now it can't... Oh, actually, maybe it could connect over here. If it connects over here, then all of this is X'd, which sounds bad. No, it can't. Because then I would not have enough bombs in column 11, right? If I blew this, then this thing is thinged. Oh, also this orange wouldn't connect would be the easier reason than the reason I gave, but you know, multiple proofs is never bad. This row's clues are done now, if I make that. Okay, so now I think all my coral is done. Up here I need 1 bomb in this 2 by 2, which means I need this to be a bomb, or I've got problems. And so that is therefore a bomb. These are both bombs because we need to fit 2 bombs in there. This row needs a bomb, so that's a bomb. And I think that is our puzzle. Successfully completed for a second time. I wonder if we were faster the second time than the first time. Very cool puzzle, though. I really enjoyed it both times. And I really do think we took a somewhat different path through it, probably because of our experience with doing this before. Okay, give me 1 moment while I find another puzzle. I bet there is another puzzle somewhere. It was new to Nell, yeah. Let's see. Zetamath voting. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Let's do this equal split lines puzzle. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and that's going to require me to change my screen layout, unless people would like to do it in this stream layout, which is also a reasonable option. But we're going to probably prefer that stream layout. But you can vote if you prefer stream layout 1 or stream layout 2 for this puzzle. Okay, so we have here an equal split lines puzzle. I've done one before, but the one I did, or maybe 2 or 3, I've done a few equal split line puzzles for testing adventure puzzles, which I usually do over on Rank's channel. But basically, we've got some Renbon. Always happy to have Renbon. They're a string of consecutive digits, but in a messed up order. So it could be 1, 2, 3, but jumbled however you like, or it could be 3, 4, 5, jumbled however you like. And then we have equal split lines, which are basically region sum lines, except instead of being split at borders, they're split where they say they're split. So we've got that. This one is actually a region sum line, and this one's actually a region sum line. It's funny, actually. I bet the way that this came to be is very similar to how my how 10 lines came to be, because I was sort of doing a lot of math with region sum lines when I was setting frac, but I was doing them without sort of having the regions associated with it, and so it sort of resulted in a split. This is a similar idea. In fact, I suppose one could just replace region sum lines entirely with these lines, and that would be pretty nice, I presume. Okay, so per the usual business that we have about these, this needs to have a 15 sum at minimum. So these need to be from 6, 7, 8, 9, and these need to be at most 7. And they definitely have to have a 1, 2, and 3, or the sum is too big. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 is already 18. So we can say, like, that digit, for example, is thing. This is from 6, 7, 8, 9, because it is a sum of a bunch of digits, like this. Oh, I can turn on row column labels, by the way. That'll probably make life nicer. Yeah, the big Renban is definitely an extra region. I agree with that assessment. Oh, row 1, column 7 is also from 6, 7, 8, 9. We need 2 of 1, 2, 3 here, and 2 of 1, 2, 3 here, interestingly enough. I kind of wanted to say that this had to be big, but I don't think it quite does. I think it almost, but not quite, has to be big. Very, very hard, Josh. Very, very hard. I do know that these are opposite parity. Wait, are these the same parity? Sorry. This is an even sum. Oh, so these are, yeah, so these are an odd sum. So this is 1 even and 1 odd, I can say. Let's see. Yeah, we can actually say that, yeah, these certainly need to be at least 4 because there's a big digit on it. And we need 2 of 1, 2, 3 at least down here. We need 2 of 1, 2, 3 in there, 2 of 1, 2, 3 in there, 2 of 1, 2, 3 in there, all of 1, 2, and 3 in here. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so if these if this is a 6, say, then what happens to the 1, 2, 3s here? And so the point is that 2 of the 1, 2, 3s end up being pushed onto this Renban in this box at least. And so then those 1, 2, 3s end up down here, and they end up over here. Is that immediately a problem? Yeah, we can do the odd set if we have to. But it's untoward. It breaks the blue line. It would break the blue line if all 3 had to be there. But I don't think all 3... Oh, no, all 3 of them have to be... Yeah, the other if there are... Yeah, so it's either that these are that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, or this is the other one. But I think that just gets by. Uh, so let's do this odd set thing that people are talking about. So the odd set thing that people are talking about is to look at these cells and notice that these are currently 5 sets of the digits 1 through 9 in yellow and 4 sets of the digits 1 through 9 in purple. But I can conveniently actually make it into 4 sets in yellow and 4 sets in purple by just knocking this out. And so the point is the yellow digits and the purple digits are the same. And that'll still be true if I remove all of the intersection of yellow and purple. Like that. And so I can remove an additional set of 1 through 9 from each set, in fact, because this Renbon is 1 through 9 and the purple is 1 through 9. And so what I get is that these cells are the same as these cells. And so in particular, this cell is in one of these. Yeah, the sum has to be divisible by 2 and 3 is one of the things I was looking at. I was trying to say this can't possibly be... Yeah, so the sum is divisible by 2, and therefore this can't be 7 or 9, because here the sum is... the sum, if you look at it, is a multiple of 2, because it's the same thing plus the same thing. Well, the sum of over here is 3 times this number. And so if this number was odd, that would be a big problem. So this can only be 6 or 8. However, I think there's a huge problem if it's 6, which is that if it's 6, then these numbers need to be 1, 2, 3, and 6. So this would be, 6, 1, 2. But that doesn't work. Okay, yeah. So the problem is a Sudoku logical one. If this is a 6, where do the 2 sets of 1, 2, 3 go? And the problem is one of them goes in this sum, and just by Sudoku alone, one of them has to go over here. That's the problem. And so I can't have 1, 2, 3 in both the horizontal and the vertical component, or I can't have enough 1, 2, 3s. And therefore, this is an 8. And we can bring out Zach for the 8 dance. Ba-boop-a-doop. Woo! Ba-doop-a-doop. Wah! Ba-doop-a-doop. Wee! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Kale says, or you just couldn't make 9 in 4 cells, which is also a very good point, because then, again, the sum here would be, if this was a 6, the sum of these all would be 18, and so this sum would need to be 9, which is not possible. Okay, so, therefore, the total sum is 24, and so these each sum to 12. And we know that the total here is that one of these is 1, 3, 4, and one of them is 1, 2, 5. So there's a repeat 1, meaning if there's a repeat 1 in yellow, there needs to be a 1 in there. Of course, these sum to 12. However, there are only 2 ways to sum to 12 in 4, which are 1, 2, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 6. But 1, 2, 3, 6 has the problem that there's no 6 anywhere in here. So if we're going to go set, we're going to go full set and say that this is therefore 1, 2, 4, 5. And therefore, this is certainly 1, 3, 8. And this is, of course, not 1. Oh, hey, Setter, how are you? So there's a 1 in fact, one of these two cells exactly, both by Sudoku and by the fact that there's a 1 on the Renbon somewhere. Oh, sorry, it's in fact exactly here. It's even better because there's a 1 over there. So by either Sudoku or the Renbon alone, that is a 1. So we've got that. We, of course, know... Yeah, we know that there's an 8 over here just by Sudoku. So either there is no 8 on this length 5 Renbon. That's one option. Or the other option is that that digit exactly is an 8. Because I know that there's an 8 over here, and I know that these aren't 8. Okay, this Renbon I know doesn't have a 1 on it now, at least. So this Renbon at least certainly goes up to this... certainly goes up at least now to 6. Yeah, I know there's an 8 over here. Yep, agree. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now, beautiful spot from Kale. These two cells are a minimum of 3, 6, which is 9. So these are 3, 6, which makes that a 9. For sure. Means that's not a 9, which means we can corner mark a 1 on here. I don't think it's possible for there to not be a bypass for set. I think there's always a bypass for set. So the 8 in the row now goes here, which tells me there's now a 2 down here. And then these are a 7, 9 pair. Okay, so now this is not 1, 8 or 3, 6. This can't be 4, 5 because 4, 5 would break this. So this is not 1, 8, 3, 6, or 4, 5. So therefore it has to be 2, 7, which makes that a 9 and that a 7. The use of this to sort of fix the odd set was very cute, actually. As much as I personally dislike set a lot, that was a very cute use of it. Okay, so we know that these cells are 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 4, 5, 6, and 9. That one's not a 9, of course. That one's not a 9 either. So one of these two is 9. So the question is, can there really be a 9 on this Renbon? Because I know there's a 9 over here somewhere. Tells me this digit's never 9 for what it's worth. Because a 9 here would rule 9 out of this box, funnily enough. And in fact, actually, out of this box as well, by chasing the 9s, as David points out. So, of course, one of these two has to be a 9. The 2 looking up column 6 is very relevant, because it tells me that this is 1, 3, 4, and this is 1, 2, 5. That is super helpful. So now this isn't a 4, and this is assuredly a 5 or a 6. The reason, by the way, is because I knew that these were two different 8 sums by the magic of the yellow and purple equivalents. If you were curious how I knew that this was 1, 2, 5, as soon as I knew that this was 1, 3, 4. If this is a 4, then it's roped, but I don't know that I really want to think about that a lot at the moment. All right, these are a triple. That's a good point. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay, so that tells me the 4 and the 9, I guess, are down here, which I already knew. I think what Emma is really telling me is that I can place 3 in box 5. And now once I've placed 3 in box 5, now I know that there's no 3 on this Renbon. And so this Renbon is from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I know those aren't 8 and those aren't 8. If this isn't 8, there's no 8 on the Renbon, and the Renbon is a 4, 5, 6, 7 Renbon, which is a problem because it's length 5. So therefore that is 8. Oops. I was trying to remove 8 from all of these. I see. Okay. Now removing 8 from this forces there to be a 9 in it, which tells me that there's a 9 on the Renbon over here, which tells me that there's not a 9 on the Renbon over here, and also tells me that there's no 4 anywhere on the Renbon because it's now just forced to be a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Renbon. It also removes 7 from this because if there were a 7 here, then this would be a sum of 17. It would require the 8 there. Yeah, we know one of those two is the 9. Okay, so this cell sees the entire 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Renbon except for the 8, except it sees this 8. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but it's not a 1 or a 3. So this is only ever a 2 or a 4, and it's not a 2 by the row, actually. So this is a naked single 4. Okay, and these aren't 5, by the way, because of the 1, 2, 5. So there is a 5 looking down here, and that fixes that this is a 2. Okay, and so now this is the last 5, 6, 7. But one thing you'll notice is that it actually is just a 5, 6 by the row. And so there's definitely a 7 up here with the 5. Sorry, that 5, I should have just said that as the 5 looks down. That makes this easier. Like that. So these are 6, 9. That's the other one. What is the other one? 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 7. So, oops. So having chased that around, that now means that the sum actually is 15. And so now that is a 7, which makes that 5 and 7, and that's 6. And this bizarrely 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 9 and that's 6. So 6 in this box goes here. These are 8 and 2, just to finish out the column. Oops. Emma doesn't like me putting a 9 on this Renbon with a 6. I agree with that assessment. In fact, actually, this Renbon doesn't have a 7 on it, so it doesn't have an 8 on it either. So we can actually just do that. This is 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this row, so that places the 8 there and the 2 there. So now we've got a 1, 3, 4 triple in this row, placing the 8 over here. These are 7 and 9, and I know the order because of just Sudoku stuff. Let's see. I guess I know there's a 5 over there, but I already knew there was a 5 over there, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay. Row 5 does have a triple, right? Let's see. It's got a 2, a 3, and an 8. We know that one's not the 8. I'll get rid of those now. Okay, so now we know that 6 and 9 both get pushed over here. If 6 and 9, just by Sudoku, both get pushed over here, they can't both go on this, right? Yeah, because there's no... Oh, right, actually, sorry. I should just do it this way. The most that this can possibly sum to is 11. Because... Oh, no, it's 9. The most this can possibly sum to is 9. Because it's 4 and 5, right, is all that's left. Whereas there is a 9 in one of these cells. Well, if this sums to 9, the 9 is definitely there. But now the 6 is on this thing. So this has to be 1, 2, 6 with a 4, 5. Very cute. And so we get all of that sorted out. And so now this is 6, 7, 8. Uh-oh. No, it's not 6, 7, 8. It is 3, 7, 8, right? With this being the 3, because it's not the 7 or the 8. Okay, and these are the 7 and the 8, like that. So now that's a 1. It seems like that's a 2, a 3, and an 8. Okay. So, there's a 4 or a 5 over here. I probably just need to now figure out what's going on with this. Oh, I can look at the 4-5 pair in the column is being pointed out. That's a good idea. I don't hate doing that. Okay, so 7 and 8 I see are both on this this by Sudoku, so that is what I'm going to look at first. So these two aren't 7, these two aren't 8. Assuredly, the 7 and 8 are opposite, because if the 7 and 8 were together, that would create a problem. There's also a 6 on here somewhere, and I think that's going to do it, because the 6 can't go with the 8, right? If the 6 goes with the 8, then the 7 would go with a second 7. So the 6 has to go with a 7, making 13. So the 8 has to go with a 5. So we actually know that this is 5, 6, 7, 8 by Sudoku. And so these are the 6, 8, and these are the 5, 7. And we can get rid of all the corner marks. Like that. Now that 6, 8 looks up here at the 3 and the 6. I keep squinting over here to see if there's a place. Ah, yes, there's a 4, 5 pair in this row. So that makes that a 7 and a 6 and a 5 and an 8. I really like the Sudoku of things onto these is very interesting. I should probably try and set a puzzle with this constraint at some point in my life. I like it a lot. Okay, so get rid of 1s over there. There's our 1, 2, so that's a 5. Okay, and so probably Mark can help out a little bit with these remaining cells. 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5, 1, 3. It was very lovely. I was going to ask if it had been on Cracking the Cryptic, but it has apparently not been on Cracking the Cryptic because oops. Oh, yeah, weird. There's a white space over here. I don't know why there's a white space over here. Oh, is it part of the pop-up? It has not been on Cracking the Cryptic. I do think that Simon would really like this, because I think Simon really likes clever set puzzles. And this is definitely a clever set puzzle with a very smooth sort of follow-up from that. And the set is, at least I would say, not at all bad, and quite clearly advertised, despite my effort to avoid it if I could. Alrighty, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'll be back in just a moment with some iced tea and another puzzle. So see you all in just a moment. right, welcome back. We have a Math Pesto variant of the equal split lines, where the splits are exactly at the region borders. So you can reduce this to the previous puzzle if you just draw in some splits like this. Slightly hard to draw in a split there, but anyway. So we get to do that. So it's an interesting grid. Let's see, are there any sort of jump out things where I've got... Usually the starting point is look for a long thing equal to a short thing. Let's see. Lots of 2s and such over here. Yeah, 1 equals 3 or 2 equals 5 are usually what you're looking for. Yeah, there's a 4 to 2 over here, which is, I think, not quite enough to be interesting in and of itself. So let's see. So unfortunately, these three things are all the same. Now, I do know... Oh, no, not quite. Sorry. I was looking to try and combine stuff. So, I think the point that Mekdi is making is that actually if we combine our identities, we actually know that these are equal. Because that sum is equal to that one, and this sum is equal to that one. Maybe I colored this in a bizarre way, but anyway. That means that sum... also in box 3, right? Okay, so this sum is... by this box, at least 28, and by this box, at most 30. And so that is interesting. So these are certainly from 6, 7, 8, 9, because this sum is a minimum of 15 in order to make that work. Let's see. I don't have these lines sort of overlapping anywhere else. Yeah, this sum is equal to that sum, and so on. Yeah, we have a... If you want, we can draw in our own same difference line here because of the way that this works. So we get the 2 equals 5 thing anyway that you quite often will start with. Despite Math Pesto's best efforts to remove it. Yeah, I guess box 1 and 4, if we look at these, those also have the same sum, but it's not the same sum that's in the other places. But again, we have a max of 30. Okay. So these are a max of 30, and so these are a min of 15, but they're also a max of 15 owing to the row. And so... I say that because I know that this is a minimum of 15. And so now, actually, what we get is actually this has to be 15 and 15. And so that sort of forces everything. Because this is min 15 and this is min 15, and their collective max sum is 30. And so that means that, in fact, the outies in this box, which is these cells, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over here, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no 6s and 7s. These are 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and we said that is now summing to 30. However, that works out. Okay, so this sum is pretty big, although it doesn't necessarily have to be 6, 7, 8, 9 itself. This sum is 15. Right. So, Jim points out, Chad points out that now we know that the white here sums to 15. So these 5 cells sum to 15. So they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are 6, 7, 8, 9 again. Let's see, that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9s in this column, for what it's worth. The minimum sum here is 24. And so if the minimum sum here is 24, first of all, I can say weird things like there has to be a 6 on here. Because if there's no 6, then these are 7, 8, 9, and then the only way to make 24 would be to put 7, 8, 9 over here, but that's too many 7, 8, 9s in that box. So there's a 6 there, so there's no 6 there for what it's worth. Now, I need to get to at least 21. So these numbers always need to be at least 4 for what it's worth. I don't know how useful that is to chase. Yeah, we can't make 23 for the same reason, but I don't think that tells us anything. Oh, I guess it does tell me there's a 7 here. It does tell me there's a 7, because if there's no 7, it would be 23. Right, okay, so this is actually, in fact, an 8 or a 9. Okay. Let's see. So we've got all of that. Okay. All well and good. It's either 6, 7, and 8 or 6, 7, and 9. Right. Okay. So in this column, we've got all of our 6, 7, 8, 9s. So in particular, oh, maybe not. Okay. So these are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for sure. Okay, there's 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 in here. There's 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 in here. Okay. Yeah, we know that's 15. Oh yeah, these are certainly from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'm doing the high-low split, which is a very common thing to look at. In these cases. So it's one of these two that's a 6, 7, 8, 9. Do I know that these are also 6, 7, 8, 9? I don't think I know that because I don't think I know this line sums to 15. I just know that this line and this line together sum to 30, I think. Why is this max 14? Uh, that's not true, though. There's a 6, 7, 8, 9 in here. Oh, you mean in this box? In this box. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yes. True. Okay, so yeah, so this sum is at most 14 because that would be there. We were looking at this segment. Sorry, I had not noticed this segment. Uh, so right, so this sums to at most 14, and therefore, if you sort of chase that up over here, this sums to at most 14, so therefore this sums to at least 16. If you need to get to at least 16, you need a 9, so there's no 9 over here. Likewise, there's no 6 down here, so there's definitely a 6 up here, because if there were a 6 down here, it would be 15 and 15, and that's not what we have. Let's see. Pater points out you can do the same thing over here, where assuredly these sum to 30. So actually, I guess what we're saying is that this sum is the same sum as this sum, even though that's sort of like not apparent from the lines, but it's true because of the way that 30 sums work. But yeah, so again, we have a sum of 30. This is at most 14, so this is at least 16, so it needs a 9, so this can't have a 9. This can't have a 6, and so there's a 6 over here. I don't know why the 6 didn't actually appear like I wanted. So that actually gives us aligning 6s between these two boxes, and so that's not a 6. So that's not a 9. Oh, somehow I corner marked 9 when I meant to corner mark 6. That's what happened. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so there's no 9 in here. Several people are pointing out, because a 9 here plus 1, 2, 3 would be 15, and we know the sum is a max 14. So the 9 in column 3 is assuredly down here. And that forces this to be 6, 7, 9 exactly, which is very cool. And so therefore that digit is an 8, and we get to do an 8 dance again. Ba-boop, ba-doop, woo! Ba-doop, ba-doop, wah! Ba-doop, ba-doop, wee! Ba-doop, 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 wah! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Okay, so now I need a way to make 22 that is not 6, 7, 9, right? And so it's got to be 5, 8, 9, right? Is the only way to do this, I think, that is not that, because 22 should have 2 ways to make it. And so one of them is 6, 7, 9. The other has to be 5, 8, 9. And we've just got to do that. Otherwise, we run into issues. So that is not a 5. Oops, sorry, not a 5. We know there's a 9 over here somewhere. As well as... Oh, no, not as well as anything else. Just a 9. This is not an 8. So that's not a 7. This is not an 8. Okay. Oh, sorry, you're right. I thought this was a quadruple, but this is not a quadruple. Uh, you're right. There is still a 9 over here, though, and I can still clean up the rest of this. 8, 7 can go from there. Okay. Uh, oh, and 8, right. There is an 8 over here as well, owing to the fact that that 8 and that 8 are looking over. Okay. Let's see. This is not an 8. Then there's an 8 up here. The 8 would have to go with 1, 2, 3, making the total exactly 14. Is there a problem with this being 8, 1, 2, 3? Would make this a 6 and that an 8. Looks okay-ish, at least at first blush to me. Okay, so this is a minimum of, yeah, I don't think I've ever asked myself what the minimum this sum can be is. We've used repeatedly the maximum is 14. What's the minimum it can be? It's 6 plus 7, right, is 13. So this is only 13 or 14 just by looking at these two cells. And so 13 plus 30 is 43. That means this is either 1 or 2, is what people are saying. I agree with that. Okay, these need to sum to a minimum of 16. And so in particular, they need to have a 9 in them, which does give me a z-wing on 9s, as chat has previously noted, placing a 9 there. And in fact, it's the same 7, 8, 9 in each case, because whatever this is just the other one. Oh, and it can't be 17, right, because that would take 8 out of both of these cells. Right, okay, so it's 16. Okay, so we actually now get that this is, in fact, 16 and 14. Very nice, very nice. Because of this 8 here was the point. And so now that actually populates this back. So 14 through here means that this is a 6, 8. 14 plus... Oh, sorry, yeah, so this is a 7, 9. Oh, sorry. So this is a 7, 9. So 14... I guess I should say 14 plus 30 is the easy way to do this, makes that a 1. Like that. So that is not a 1 anymore. If there's no 1 in here, assuredly this is too big, right? If there's no 1 anywhere in this sum, then it's a minimum of 2, 3, 4, and 6, which is 15. So that does have to be a 1 in order to make this work. This is a sum to 14 also has been pointed out, and it can't be 5 plus 9. So this is also 6, 8, which means that we get a 6 and an 8 over here by Z-Wing number 45, which would be a great title for this puzzle, by the way. Okay, let's see. We can take the 1s out of down there. Let's see. We do know there's a 1 in here somewhere for whatever that is worth. I don't know that it's worth very much yet. Let's see. So this is at most 17 in sum, but it's got a 6 and an 8 and 2 other things. So it has to be a 6812, right? 6812 is 17, so this needs to be an 8 in order to make this work. Sorry, this is just a 1 or a 2. That one's not an 8 anymore. Makes that a 6 and an 8. Makes that not a 6. Okay, so those are a 1-2 pair. So these are a 6-8 pair, and in fact, we seem to know that that's the 6 and that's the 8. If I want to know the rest of the box is 3, 4, 5, it looks like that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple. So these are 6 and 7 over here. That makes that a 9. If you look at the row where you've got a 6, 7 pair, makes that a 9. Like that. Okay, so we've got lots of good stuff happening now. That's a 5, 8. Those are a 6, 7. That puts a 6 and a 7 in here somewhere. The 6 definitely isn't there. Oh, that 6, 8 pair, in fact, actually looks down and gives me the 5 and the 8. So no 5 over there. Let's see, so either that's a 5 or that's a 5, I guess. It did turn out this wasn't 5. See, people should have believed in my quadruple. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just because we've got 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the row. Sorry, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the row. Sorry, so this is really just 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not an 8, so that's not a 7. That's not a 5. Okay. Now, oops, did I hit a button? Okay, I don't think I hit a button. Well, I hit a button, but I don't think it did anything. Okay, so we know that these sum to 16, I guess. So this is 16 plus 23 is 39. Yeah, that's 39. So these outies sum to 6. So in particular, neither of them are 7. So these are a 6, 7 pair, and these are a sum to 6. They have to be 2, 4, if I did that right. So that's a 1, 3 over there. Hopefully that works. That's 13 plus 4 is 17. Uh-oh, I did this wrong. How did I do this wrong? The outies need to sum to... Okay, so 23 plus 16. I swear 23 plus 16 is 39. Oh, it's because it's not 23, it's 22. That's why. 22 plus 16 is 38, which means these sum to 7. They still can't have a 7 in them. Okay, but these now sum to 7, and they're not 1, 6, or 2, 5. So they're 3, 4, meaning that these are a 1, 2 pair. There we go. And so now that is 16, which is promising. Okay, better. Perhaps not useful, but better. In that it at least doesn't break. Okay, I need a 7 in this column somewhere. But who knows where. It is being pointed out that we know there's a 7 and a 9 in this row, for what it's worth. Yeah, I was trying not to pencil mark that, but it works. This has to be a 7 or a 9, is what David is pointing out, because if not, these are a 7-9 pair, which sums to 16. That would make the minimum of this line 19, but we know it sums to 15. So this is definitely a 7 or a 9. can only put a 9 here if I make the rest of this 1, 2, 3 exactly, which would make this that 1, 2. We do know one of these two is a 6, I agree, because we've got aligning 6s over here. I'm being told the 7-8 combination breaks. I don't see why. 9 in this box is either here or it's in this sum. Josh wants to know if this can really be a 6, because if this is a 6, I need these two to sum to 10. Which would have to be as 3, 7. But technically that doesn't work. That's really messy. Yeah, that doesn't work, but not in a way I'm willing to use. Let's see. Hey, Niels, how are you? Did I say your name right? I remember I used to remember how to say it, but I think I've forgotten. Okay, here's how to say it. That doesn't sound disgusting. If I put the 6 here, the 9 in the box has to go there, and that's a problem because this is too big of a sum. That's much better than my way of saying it before, because I know basically the 6 and the 9 in this box either both go here or they both go up here, and them both going here is bad because of the fact that that cell can't be a 1. So that is a 6 and that's a 9. That's a 7 and a 9, and a 7 and an 8, and a 6 and a 7, and a 9 and a 7. Over there, 7 and 9, 7 and 9, 6 and 7. It's kind of miraculous that this puzzle ends up being unique. Okay, so now what has this wrought? So I need these two to add to 7. These two need to add to 7, and they can't be 3, 4 or 1, 6. So these have to be 2, 5. And so that resolves the 1 and the 2 over here, which seems to pull 1 out of there, pull 2 out of there. Oh, I'm being told we can Sudoku an 8 into this cell. And so these are summing to 14, which means these two are summing to 5, which means they have to be 2, 3. So the thing that I was noting before I thought maybe would not work does in fact work, that these are a 2, 3 pair, that these are a 1, 2, 3 triple with an 8. So this is not a 2 or a 3. This is not a 2 or a 3. These are a 4, 5 pair. And so that leaves left in the box a 4, a 5, and a 7, which is placed, in fact. Fascinating. Okay, so what's left in this box is probably worth asking. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so these are 1, 3, and 4. And so these two cells are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is what they are. So that's a 5 and that's a 9. So that gets me a 4 and a 5 over there. Does some amount of damage over down here. Let's see. These are a pair, which consist of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm being told there's exactly one more 6 in the grid. Seems to be the case that it goes there. Let's see. This is a 2 or a 3, and it sure is. This isn't 4 or 5. This isn't 5. Let's grab the last few places that we have to do things. Okay, so these two need to sum to 5 as well, because this is summing to 16, and that's 11, so I need 5 more. So this is also a 2, 3, which is going to bounce down and make that a 4 and a 1. Make that a 5 and a 4 and a 3 and a 4. Okay, those are a 2, 3 pair, so that's the 1. It's not a 4. Okay, that's a 1, 2, 3 triple, so that's the 5 for the row. Okay, that's a 2, 3. Okay, this is a 4, because there's a 2, 3 pair in the box. No 4s over there, no 1s up there. So the 1 is, in fact, placed there. I'm doing pretty well on 1s as we chase these around. It must have been so satisfying for Math Pesto when they realized that, like, basically the end of this puzzle resolved so nicely. Like, normally when setting this, you'd end up with some really heinous, annoying, deadly pattern at the end that you had to disambiguate in some unpleasant, unaesthetic way. So this just, like, this resolving like this is just so, it's what every setter hopes and dreams of happening when they do puzzles. Very cool puzzle. Very fun. I liked the way of hiding the 2 equals 5 sort of start there. Was very nice. Alrighty, I'm going to take a quick break, stretch a little bit, and then do probably one more puzzle. So I will see you all in just a moment. Be right back. Alrighty, welcome back. Oh, that looks horrible. There we go. That looks better. So long ago in a galaxy far, far away, I used to often do some Heyawake puzzles at the end of stream. Uh, but I stopped doing it because Puzzlink stopped updating for some technical reason I don't understand. Uh, Now, for some reason, I believed that Puzzlink had started updating again, but maybe that was a lie. Because I see this and I now see that all the things that I see listed are still this. But anyway, the short version is we're going to do a few Heyawake puzzles. So if you've never done a Heyawake puzzle before, the way it works is that we need to shade some cells in the grid. The rest will be unshaded, so they'll be green. The number of cells to shade in each little box is given by the number, so that's a freebie, because we're saying shade one of these 1, shade 2 of these, or whatever. You can't make shaded cells touch. And also, in addition to not being able to make shaded cells touch, you also need to make sure the unshaded cells stay connected. So collectively, that set of rules is known as the dynasty set of rules, and that set of rules shows up in a lot of variations. So for example, Yajlin is also a dynasty genre. Basically, a lot of shading cells follow that same rule. And so another example, as you can see, is this 3. There's only one way that I can possibly fill the 3. Okay. The other rule that makes Heyawake is slightly more complicated to wrap your brain around, and that's that if you ever have a contiguous line of green cells, then that line can only pass through at most one region border. And so there's an example right here, which is that if I make this green, this is a contiguous line of 3 green cells. And that contiguous line of green cells passes through 2 region borders, so that has to be shaded. Okay. And that border rule is what makes Heyawake weird as a genre. So notice, just to go through this, the greens have to be connected. So this becomes green. And there's a few other things, like this too. Because of the no touchy, I can either do it that way or that way, except this way doesn't work. Because this way creates the green that's automatically disconnected. So in fact, it has to connect that way. And remember, the greens connect, so they have to sneak out. And there's a border rule here, so we have to do this. By the way, I just on Puzzlink picked a 3-star. This puzzle, by the way, I should say, is by Tiba Sukamaru. So happy to see this. Okay, so row 7, column 6 is shaded by the weird rule. Yes, it is. Thank you. And so now this is shaded by the weird rule going down. And this is shaded by the weird rule going down. And now this is shaded by, unshaded by connectedness, I should say. Okay, so now this 2 now can only be those 2. There's no way to shove 2 in there otherwise. Now that's green. That's shaded by my contiguous rule. May not be a rule of more. There may not be a run of green cells that crosses 2 borders. So, for example, I can't make both of these green. That would be a run of green cells that crosses 2 borders. But it's the crossing 2 borders that you're not allowed to do. This needs to be shaded in order that I possibly get 3 in here. Oh, you're welcome. It's a very weird rule, so I definitely understand it taking a while to sort of wrap your brain around. So that is another border rule instance. That's another border rule instance. Like that. And so you can have sort of a virtual thing. Like I know one of these 2 needs to be shaded by the border rule. But I don't think I know which one yet. I do have some weird connectedness stuff going on at the bottom that I need to be very careful about how exactly this works. this is unshaded for connectivity, thank you, because that hadn't gotten out. And so now those two have to be that. And so that needs to be green for connectivity, that for the border rule. And so now this 2, I can't do this way, because if I do it this way, I now lock off the bottom corner of the board. So I can't do that. That needs to extend. So that's my 1. That needs to extend. Okay. So we've got all of that at least. Okay, my 3 over here. I know one of these 2 needs to be shaded. One of these 2 needs to be shaded. Let's see, row 2, column 6. Yes. Okay, yes. This giant wall, a region can be all green. If it follows the other rules, a region can be all green. In fact, sometimes you'll get 0 clues. This giant wall of black leaves this as a sort of passageway to connect the side under it to the side above it. And so now then the 3 makes that be shaded like that. Okay. So little connectedness stuff happening over here, but it looks okay to me. So far, anyway. Yes. If this is unshaded, I've broken the border rule immediately. That's the hardest one for me to scan, is this making this green would connect 2 things to do it. So these are all over there. Okay, so now if this cell is shaded, this is Math Pesto's point. If this cell is shaded, it immediately unshades that, which then immediately unshades that, and now the border rule is broken down this column. So if you've not seen this, by the way, Puzzlink has a sort of like visualize this mode that says to do that. That's a fairly common shape. It's not to say that Math Pesto isn't a genius. Math Pesto is definitely a genius, but that's a pattern that shows up a lot as like against a border. You always have to be very careful about shading things that'll accidentally break a border rule. And now the border rule forces that to be shaded. And now we have to figure out what on earth is happening down here, which looks quite mysterious to me, I'll be honest. Yeah, quite mysterious, actually. Okay, so I know one of these 2 is definitely shaded. And I know one of these... Okay, that's it. One of these 2 is shaded, and one of these 2 is shaded, both by the border rule. Because if I unshade both of those, I've broken the border rule. And if I unshade both of these, I've broken the border rule. So those 2 either go this way or that way. But this way is not okay, because that way separates the bottom right from the upper left. So we've got to do it that way, is the point. And now my giant green slosh over here needs to connect down through there, or we run into problems. Connectivity does all of that. I need to do that to make sure that we avoid breaking the border rule. And now this sneaks over under here, and now that needs to be shaded to avoid breaking the border rule. And we did it! Woohoo! Okay, maybe I'm slightly better at Heyawake than I used to be. Or maybe that was slightly easier than the average 3-star Heyawake puzzle. We'll see. If we feel super adventurous, we can try doing 4-star ones. By the way, if you're interested in this genre, Teal has a wonderful guide, very similar to Woofer's famous U-Bahn guide, to the basics of Heyawake deductions. I mean, to beyond the basics, we'll say. Uh, and it is a good way to get into the genre if you're interested. It's linked in the zetamath Discord a little while ago because Nordy posted it, but if you want, just ask and I can relink you to it because there's a nice thing for it. There are easy puzzles to learn the rule set in the Teal guide, yes. You can also go on puzz.link and look at the 1-star ones that don't look crazy. Oh, absolutely. It will take ages to do these if you've not done them before. It's a learning experience for sure. I don't know what Heyawake is. Is it on Puzzlink? Heyawake. Let's see. It is on Puzzlink. I don't know what it is. Okay, so plus symmetrical shading? What do you mean by symmetrical shading? Oh, rotational symmetry in regions. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe we'll try one of those after this. This is the fun thing. Puzzlink is really fun for sort of doing a bunch of... Puzzlink is kind of like having your own, like, Cracking the Cryptic app for, like, a bunch of easily digestible puzzles that all have... that you could just sort of keep going, but for every puzzle or every pencil puzzle genre ever. Okay, so one of the trickier things to internalize when you start looking at Heyawake is what Teal calls commonalities. So there's two ways that I can make this 3x3 region. This 2x3 3. I can either do this or I can do that. And the thing to notice is, regardless of which one I do, that cell can never be shaded, and that cell can never be shaded. And the reason is if I do this, then this one is unshaded because it's next to a shaded, and this one is unshaded because it's next to something that needs to get out. If I do it the other way, the same is true except backwards. So we can do the same thing with this one. And that's actually a property of n by 2 regions with n shaded cells. So 2 by 2 with 2 shaded cells, the same thing happens. This either is shaded that way or shaded that way. And so these are unshaded. Okay. A slightly trickier thing that you might notice that I only actually noticed because I saw this is that this doesn't work. Because if this is shaded like this, then that forces this 2 to be shaded like this. And that breaks connectivity immediately. So this 2, in fact, actually has to be that. This 2 now definitely can't be shaded like that, or it would cause the same problem like that. Yeah, sorry. I did a different commonality, but it's been pointed out that yes, this is always unshaded and this is always unshaded as well. So the way it's usually phrased is if you have n in a 2 by n, you get all of the middle, which in this case is just the one cell, and then you get the things against a border. Yeah, that needs to continue in order to make this work. Let's see. Okay, that by the border rule needs to be... Oh, I didn't do it for this one. You're right. I did not do it for that one, right? Same deal for the other one. Exactly, yes. Yep, we can absolutely unshade more in lower of column 2. And so a thing that Puzzlink doesn't let you mark, but that I wish it did, is that I know that one of these 2 is shaded and one of these 2 is shaded. There's a border rule here that we have to avoid. Yes, agree. Across that is the one that Martin was referring to. Let's see. I think that's row 8. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. That was row 8. Okay. I was actually suddenly kind of hoping it was not row 8 so that I could get away with doing it. Oh, that's so close. Okay. So, if I look at uh this this 2 by 4 up here that has 3, I know that there's 1 in one of these 2 cells, and then there's 2 in this 2 by 2. So I know this is either going to look like that or like that. Uh, but that way breaks both ways of making this 3, is the point that Vicky is making. Uh, so that doesn't work, and of course that works even less. So this has to be shaded like that, which makes that be shaded. And now this needs to be shaded like that in order to make this possibly work. And now that actually gives me the shading of this one down here. And as Neil says, this needs to get out. Oh, I guess also that's touching a black. That needs to get out. And now this 3, now remember, can only be done in 2 ways, but actually it can't be done this way. So it has to look like that. And so one of the skills that you sort of develop is what Teal calls subdivision. And like one of the best things, by the way, about anyone making any of these guides to these sorts of genres is that they name things. And just having a name for something is just so useful for mentally keeping track of it. And so like when I'm talking about subdivision, what I'm saying is what's really happening here is I have a 1 in a 2 by 1 and 2 in a 2 by 2, and I know what that looks like. This needs to be green because otherwise we isolate this piece up here. And now we have a border rule risk over here. And now this needs to be green because if it isn't, we lock in the part up here. And that needs to be green because if we don't make it green, we again lock in stuff up here. And now the 2 tells me that that's shaded. So we get all of that. If I don't shade this cell, I create a string of, I break the border rule. This now needs to be green for this piece to get out. And now I can place my 2 inside this region. Like that. Okay, I know I need one of... okay. Here's another pattern that I see that I don't have a name for. I need one of these 2, and I need one of these 2, both by border rule. Therefore, if I need one of each of these sort of 2, that pair and that pair, well, if I don't use this one, then I need to do both of those. This is like very similar to the Sudoku thing where like I know that 1 in box 1 is in column 1, and I know that 1 in box 1 is in row 1, so therefore it has to be in row 1, column 1. It's a very similar deduction where I can't do that, so therefore I have to do that. Yeah, exactly what Neil says. The overlap of row and column is exactly how my brain parses that deduction, because I've done more Sudoku than I've done Heyawake. Oh, this 2 at the bottom only has one way of resolving it. And now this needs to get out, and now that 2 only has one way to resolve it. And now we've got a border rule here, and that's got to escape. And we've got a border rule there. Oh, and now this is black by border rule, because if we don't make this black, then we create a border over there. I don't quite like how it pops up as soon as you've shaded all the stuff. I understand it's because of speed solvers, but I like to finish it all myself. But when you shade the last one, it will pop up the answer. Okay, I'm going to do something downright suicidal and look for 4-star Heyawake puzzles, because the 3-star ones have been quite smooth. So let's have a look at this. Okay, and so this one is by one of my favorite pencil puzzle setters. Let me move my camera so that you can see it all. This puzzle is by Bachelor Seal. And so if ever you want to know like someone who will set reliably delightful to do, in my opinion, pencil puzzles, the way I would say it is, if you know that that feeling of doing a Clover Sudoku puzzle where everything just sort of flows, Bachelor Seal is the Clover of pencil puzzles. That is my opinion. Okay, so zeros have some commonalities. Ones in 1 by 1s in 1 also have some commonalities. 2 in 1 by 3 has some commonalities. Okay, so as Math Pesto points out, 4 in a 3 by 3 is quite interesting. And the punchline is I can't shade these cells. If I shade this, it instantly becomes impossible to fit 3 more into this. So in fact, one of the things that you learn is that 4 in 3 by 3 always needs those to be green. So that will always happen. And so 5 in a 3 by 3 always looks like this is another one that shows up. Okay, we've got this 2 by 2 against a border that's greening both of those because of that. Let's see, we know we've got, so this over here is very interesting because actually this is forced to have 3 in it, this 2 by 3, because I need to break the border rule in this column. And so I either need to do this, which I can't do because it breaks connectivity, or this. And so that's actually all forced, which then gives me another freebie from border rule stuff. Like that. Let's see, that's getting out over there. Yes, this is also forced. That is another 2 over here. One of these 2 is shaded. Feels like it would be a little bit of a disaster if it was that one, but maybe I don't quite know yet. Okay. Oh, this 3 I should have seen right away. I didn't ever notice there was a 2 by 3 in this, but we know what it looks like now. Because of this adjacent piece. Okay, and so now border rule hits that cell, which then forces this out by continuity. This needs to get out to keep this green up here alive. And now that comes up over there. Oh, that is also unshaded. Thank you. Okay, so here's another silly thing. This 2, if I look at it, it's now a 3 and a 1. I can't put the 2 here. And that might take you a second to see why. But the reason why is actually probably easiest to see here. I need to shade this cell or this cell because of border. So actually, I can't use this quote-unquote gap to fulfill my connectivity. It's not allowed. Well, if I do this, I create exactly the same thing. I can't use this gap either. So what that means is that that cell needs to be shaded. I mean, not instantly, but over time. Oh, a donation from David. Buy a round of drinks for me this weekend for everyone, or at least for you and Tristan. Have an absolute amazing time. No, it's going to be a wonderful meeting. And Niels, congrats on the feature. Fabulous from both of you. Thank you, David. We'll definitely have a drink. Let's get you a donation dance. Boop 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 boop. Woohoo! Boop 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 boop. Woohoo! Boop 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 boop. Woohoo! Boop 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 boop. Waha! Thank you, Zach, and thank you, David. So that finishes our 4 conveniently. Gets us buys us a lot of stuff. And I saw a border rule here, which I'm going to do before I say any other words. Okay, so now that needs to be shaded to avoid a border rule, and that's all of our shading in the 1. I thought I saw... Oh, yeah, here's a 2 that green is going to continue. Okay, so now we get to play the game that we played over here, where we get a very similar pattern of... I have 3 lines of sight here that I need to break. In other words, if I make any of these pairs both unshaded, I break the border rule, which means I need 3 shaded cells to break those. And those need to occur in this 2x3. So we again have created a 2x3 with 3 cells in it. And for whichever reason you want, I can't do this one. You can either say, well, that puts 3 in the 2, or you can say that isolates the top left corner. So the 3 I do has to be that 3. Does this have to be oh, no, this has to be shaded. Sorry, this has to be shaded, because if it's not, then I break the border rule in the row. So that unshades that, which actually shades that by the border rule, and that we can continue in over there. Okay, so now this 2, as Jim says, is forced because of that. Let's see. This is either going to go this way or this way. I can't unshade both of these. Would be bad. I'm trying to think of what the nice way to say this is. I don't quite have it. Let's see. Oh, this is shaded just by border rule. Maybe we'll just ignore it. This is shaded by border rule. Column 10. Okay. Column 2 has a border rule in it. Thank you. Okay, and so now this green needs to get out. So actually all of that is green, which actually shades that. Now I've got 5 and a 3x4, and 5 and a 3x4 is the max. I know. I don't remember if there's any requirements about what I can or can't shade with 5 and a 3x4. This is now shaded by the border rule. We might have to think about the 5 and a 3x4 eventually. This 4, people pointed this out a long time ago, and I never actually stumbled upon it. These always need to be unshaded in order to make this 4 happy. Okay, so now we can certainly subdivide the 5, because now this 5, I can fit 2 in here and 3 in here. And so this 3 and a 2x3, remember, unshades the middle on either side, which then tells me what the 2 looks like, which then tells me what the 3 looks like. And that would break a border rule if I left it unshaded. That would break that would break connectivity if I shaded it. Okay, so that was pleasant. Okay. I'm not quite at a point, I think, where I'm... Oh, no, I am. If I do the 4 this way, I might have to draw it in for you to see it, depending on whether you're better at visualizing things than I am or not. If I put the 4 this way, I disconnect the lower left, so I cannot do that. Oops. So I have to do it that way instead. Like that. Okay, now that by border rule needs to be shaded. That by the fact that 2 needs to get to 2 needs to be shaded. That needs to be unshaded. I'm guessing that's what M. Nasty was saying about needing to get out, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Row 6, column 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, okay. It was. It was. Uh, okay. Final row. Yeah, we need to break each run. Yeah, so that one needs that. That needs to be connected. Uh, yes, and so we again have uh, a 2x3 that needs 3 in here because I need 1 in columns 1 through 3 is what Niels is saying. And I can't do this again because that would disconnect. So my I keep accidentally hitting the wrong cell, which is not helpful. My 2x3 with 3 in it needs to be that one, which then will make that green. Okay, this is black because I still need 2 in my region that's labeled as needing 2. Okay, so now I have a 2x2 with 2 and another 2x2 with 2. That I can treat as a 4 and a 2x4, so I can green both of those. Let's see. Row 6, column 8 is a get outer. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. If this is shaded, then we create a rectangle that looks like whatever that one weird puzzle genre is. Okay, and after this, we'll try the genre that a few people in chat were talking about. We'll try the symmetrical Heyawake puzzles. This needs to be shaded, or we have broken the line of sight rule. This needs to be unshaded, or this can't get out. This needs to be shaded for that border rule. Okay. What now? Those two regions with the 4 and a 2x4 can be resolved. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So this is what Vicky is pointing out. If we do this, then we have to do that, and we've now isolated the top. So we can't do that thing I just said. We have to do it that way. Like that. Now that's shaded because of this too. Was today's stream inspired by pancakes? It wasn't, although I do love pancakes. This 2 now has to go that way, or it'll create a little tiny disconnected region. This 2 needs 2, and that needs to be green in order to avoid creating problems. Okay, this is either going that way or that way. This is shaded by border rule. Okay. Row 3. Yes. Laura's completely right. If I unshade this, I've created a row that crosses 2 borders, so I have to shade that. Excellent, Casey. Casey has found a green 5, Casey's favorite. Okay, so now if you look at it sort of doing the decomposition thing, one of these 2 is shaded and one of these 2 is shaded for the 3, which now means if you count this 2x3 that I'm now highlighting, it's 3 in that 2x3, so therefore that's green. Was probably excessive, but we'll take it. Okay, and likewise, actually, you can do the same thing down here. One of these 2 is shaded by this 3, and so with this 2, that gets me a 2x3, which unshades both of those. And now this 3 is just a 3 and 2x3, so that does that. There's a version that prevents connectedness. Like through this whole area. This is shaded just to avoid border rule, so that's shaded. This might make it so I don't have to think about the connectedness point. I kept visualizing it, trying to get it to break the connectedness, and I kept not seeing it breaking the connectedness, which is why I'm slightly concerned about trying to actually see it. Okay, so now now even I can see this breaks connectedness, right? Yeah, that breaks connectedness. So now we have to do that. Okay. Oh, now this has to be that and not... Yeah, right. Now if this does that, I see. Now it creates a wall that looks like this. So we can't do that. Okay, thank you, Math Pesto, for bearing with me. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, now we know if we sort of look at this 4, we know one of those 2 is shaded, and so 3 of this 2 by 3 are, so we can do our usual sort of green extension. And that tells me what this 2 looks like in order to make the world work. One of these 2 assuredly works. Row 9, the border between these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. This needs to be shaded, or we have a problem with borders, Laura points out. I have a feeling that shading... Yeah, we can't shade this, because if we do, we continue creating our giant rectangle of doom. And we don't want to create the torment vortex, as we say. Torment nexus. Sorry, it's the torment nexus. Okay, this is shaded by border rule in the cross. And now the 4 is done. Yeah, the 4 is now super done because of that. Yeah, I should have said that right away because of the 3, but I didn't notice it, but Martin did. And that's super useful because it creates this as a border rule, and you get to pick whether you want to use the border rule horizontally or vertically, because either will do it. To make that have to do that, let's see. Alrighty, let's see. That way or that way? I don't see that one yet. I do know it's not both of these, at least. Third to... yes. Laura is very good at this. Okay, so this needs to be shaded in order to avoid creating a vertical border. Okay, so that's all of my 2. So now that needs to be shaded in order to avoid that vertical border rule. Okay. Annoyingly, I think I can shade this, which probably means I have to. By the way, if you like horrendous uniqueness deductions, Heyawake has a lot of horrendous uniqueness deductions that I am definitely not going to use. But if you get into that kind of thing, I don't kink shame. If you get into that kind of thing, it's definitely the sort of thing you can think about. Okay, this is 3 shaded in a 2 by 3, so that's green. And so now that's big because now I can't shade those, so I have to shade those like that. Okay, so I have to shade one of those, which is no big surprise. So now I have this 3 and a 2 by 3 again, but if I do it this way, I create a square, so I have to do it that way instead. And now my 4 and a 3 by 3 pattern shows up again. And so here's another common trick when I'm doing the 4 and a 3 by 3. I can't do these 3. Because if I do these 3, I isolate that cell. And well, I only get to not pick one. So the one I don't pick is one of those 3. So it's not those 2. So I can fill in that. Let's see. Okay. I know one of these 2 is shaded by the border rule. And it's not these two either. In fact, it's not these two or these two. Actually, if you look at it, basically, shading this cell is actually the one that's poison. If you look at it, because it creates an unbroken wall down there. Okay, so I can't shade this, because if I shade this, I certainly break my 2 in this. And I can't shade those 2, so I have to shade that one. For sure. Let's see. There's a border rule in the 5th column from the right. A few people in chat have pointed out, yep, so that needs to be shaded, which means that's unshaded and that's shaded. Okay. Row 10. Yeah, there's a border rule there. Okay, and so now I can't shade this cell because it would create a giant area down here under these like pyramid shaped things. But now that's a border rule. So that would be an issue if we didn't do that. This we assuredly need to get out. Yeah, I can't shade this cell. If I shade that cell, I create a giant unbroken wall through the whole world. Now I can border rule that cell. Okay, and now I can't shade this because it would again create said unbroken wall, and that would as well. So now I have to shade that, and now we are done. Lovely puzzle by Bachelor Seal. Okay, let's try the AEST version. 1 second, let me pull up a puzzle. I have to unclick Heyawake. Okay, let's go for difficulty 2 to start. Okay, let's pull up this. Okay, so here is an AEST. So in this version, let's see. Will it actually tell me the rules, or do I just have to believe it? I don't think this tells me. So I just have to have every region be rotationally symmetric, I think is the rule as I understand it. But otherwise the rules are the same for an AEST. Oh, this isn't AEST. This is some other thing. Right, okay, this is an Heyawake thing. Okay, so this is maybe not the right puzzle type. Okay, let me try and find one that is the right puzzle type before... Actually, maybe this isn't actually an AEST. It might be that those are synonyms. I am unsure. Okay, I think that this is just what Puzzlink calls AEST. I think it is. We'll perhaps be proven wrong, but I think this is just what this is. Oh, I did leave one white cell in the last puzzle. Oh no, I have fixed it. Okay, so every region needs to be rotationally symmetric is what we need to do. So I guess the point of that is immediately I can green these 2 cells, because if I blacken one of these, then I'm definitely going to end up with an odd number of cells shaded in this thing. Also, I think this 2 is forced. Because I think it has to look like that if it's going to be my understanding of what rotationally symmetric means. Correct me if I am incorrect. Likewise, that's green for the same reason that we'd end up with an odd number of things if we did that. Bye, Neil. Hope you have a good day. Likewise, the center here. Yep. Okay. Yeah. The regions are rotationally symmetric. Correct. That is what we were saying. Oh, this is 2 by 7. Good. Good. That's also 2 by 7. Yeah, there's got to be a shaded cell here, and there's got to be a shaded cell here. I mean, I guess this is a 2 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2. The bottom left region I don't know has an even number of cells though. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't even matter. If this were shaded, then that would also be shaded if it were rotationally symmetric, right? So that is so this being green, I see, tells me that that's also green. And this being green tells me that's also green. And now those two are shaded by the border rule. And so now that's shaded. Oh, sorry, no. That's shaded by symmetry. And so those are both shaded. Did I do that right? I think so. That is also unshaded. Okay, good. Okay, now border rule shades that cell, which is then going to shade that cell, which is going to unshade that cell and shade both of those. That is unshaded for lots of reasons. This is mind-bending. This whole thing is green, right? Oh, no, sorry. For a 1 by odd, the middle one can be shaded. But those are certainly unshaded, right? Because of the symmetry. And so those are both shaded by the Heyawake rules that I understand. So that gets rotated down to there. This gets rotated over to there. That is shaded by a border rule, so we can shade the reflected-y piece. And that we can also shade. And these are both unshaded because of the rotation bit. Okay, that rotates up to there, I think. Let's see. So that Jim points out, yes. This needs to be shaded by border rule because otherwise you get a border rule in the column, and we don't want that. This needs to be shaded by border rule. And if I look at where that rotates to, it rotates to there. And so that's this whole shebang. Okay, so now that goes over there. Row 5, column 5. No, sorry, row 5, column 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ah, yes. I wish row column labels was a setting. It's possible it is somehow, and I don't know it. But I don't think so. Thanks for counting. Yeah, okay, so that's shaded by border rule. Okay, and so if those two are shaded, I should mirror them. So that's those two. Unshades that. Let's see, row 7, column 2 by border rule. Yes, that one. It's got to be. And so that rotates over down to there. And that's a 2, so all of the 2 is done. That's a border rule. now across that row, which puts one there. That's green because we need to go down there. So that's green just by mirroring, I think. Yes, that by connectivity is green, which greens that cell. Okay, so we need... Oh, right. These just can't be shaded by our center of an odd business, so then that is shaded. Okay, that's shaded, so that's shaded by the border rule over there. And that's shaded and that's shaded by the border rule down that column, and that's all of the 2. That's green. Thank you, Laura. And that, this omino actually makes that green and that green as well, reflecting all of that stuff. Oh, that's green and that's green by reflection. Oh, and that's shaded by a border rule in the column, so that's shaded. And now that's certainly unshaded, so that's unshaded. There's a border rule here, which is going to shade, sorry, both of those. Row 2, oh, yep, absolutely, that is green. Oh, that's green as well, so that's also green. That is also green. Okay. Sorry, let me finish the mirroring. This needs to be shaded because of the border rule in the row. So that's unshaded, so that's unshaded. Yeah, that's green by mirroring over there. Oh, and these are both green because if either of them was shaded, then they'd both be shaded, and that would be a big problem. Third to last column, oops, sorry, is border rule. We get there, so that's going to make that one. And so now that's shaded by the border rule, which also shades that. Annoyingly, if I shade both of these, I don't think it breaks, which I think means they have to be shaded. But I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Okay, yeah. That's right. So Martin points out if I unshade this, then I unshade this, and now both of these have to be shaded, and that doesn't work. So I should not do that thing I just said. So yeah, if these are both unshaded, then these are both shaded, so that doesn't work. So these have both got to be shaded, and then we presumably infer that now actually I can't shade either of these, yeah, by reflection. Okay, very nice. Okay. That hurts my brain a lot. But let's try it again. Just for funsies. Okay, so is it this link? Sorry, is it that link? No. Oh, I bet it's that one. Okay, here we go. This one for some reason does say Heya. Okay, so this is a Bachelor Seal one. Okay, so we can... It's funny that this is going to be rotationally symmetric no matter what, and this 4 is going to be rotationally symmetric no matter what. if this cell is not shaded, the 3 does not have 3 things in it. We didn't get to do that in the last one, but likewise, if this is shaded, the 2 isn't going to have 2 in it. Oh, these greens can be mirrored over here. These 2 can both be unshaded because if one of them is shaded, then by reflection the other one is. Ditto those. Ditto these and these. Oh, I absolutely need to shade this because those are unshaded as well, right? It's funny, like, not at all seeing the things that, like, if I'd done 20 of these would be obvious, but I haven't done 20 of them, so they're not obvious. Let's see. And then realizing, like, oh, yeah, I totally should have seen that first instead of the bizarre thing that I did see first. I'm trying to turn mirroring into a reflex. We'll see if I ever quite succeed at doing that, but we've got lots of green in the grid at least. Let's see. 6 feels like a lot. Oh yeah, there's another 3x4 and another 3x4, right? My proof about these being green had nothing to do with the number in them. And so I guess that actually tells me that this has to look exactly like that, funnily enough. I'm told there's one more I'm missing. Oh no. Is there really another one? Oh yeah, there is. It's over here. And those I can reflect up there. True that. Okay, so now that green actually tells me what this one looks like. Namely that it looks like that. And so that forces the 2 to look like this. That green can get reflected. That's true. This has a lot that can get reflected, I guess, which would be, oops. Ah! Not like that. Like that. There we go. That gets mirrored over there. Agree. Oh, this is shaded by border rule, so that's shaded and these aren't. So that gets mirrored over there. So now that's shaded by border rule there. So that's unshaded, because that would cause all kinds of problems. And this is unshaded because of connectivity. If this is unshaded, it creates a border rule conflict in this column. There's a 2x4 between 2 and 4 region. There we go. I think that is what's being said, which does actually create a border rule over there. Like that. Okay. We know there's a shaded in here somewhere. Oh, this is just shaded by border rule in the row. Isn't that 2x4 forced? Can we provide some clarity on which 2x4 is that 2x4? Oh, this 2x4? Yes. That cell is unshaded because there's a plus here. And so that's unshaded. And now this needs to be shaded because, as noticed, we needed a shaded. That's just for connectedness. And so now that's shaded by our rule of law. So that's shaded, unshaded, unshaded, unshaded. And that's unshaded, so that's unshaded. So now that's shaded by going down here. So that's shaded. We can create our own little eye. I do know one of these two is shaded and one of these two is shaded. Likewise with these. I know one of these two has to be shaded. So I know one of these two has to be shaded. Okay, I know one of those two is shaded, which doesn't seem immediate. Oh, this is unshaded because, there we go. This is unshaded by rotation. So that then does shade this, which shades that. Okay, that seems useful. Okay, I think that was the mirror towards the bottom of column 5 point that David was saying. Column 4. Ah, yes, column 4. Yeah, this definitely needs to be shaded or I create a border rule incident. And so those need to be green because I need to keep my connectedness. And so now that needs to be shaded and that needs to be shaded. I get this. I like that shape. That's a very nice shape. Row 6, column 12. 3, 6, 9. Yep. Very good. Nailed it by Laura. So that ends up over there. Like that. By that also needs to be shaded. So that's also shaded. Okay. Oh, I have not mirrored well here. Oh, maybe I have. Sorry. I think I actually have mirrored adequately here. Yeah, oh, this is a 6. And the 6 has to look like that. Because the other way gets the other way results in serious disconnection issues. Oh, and that green rotates, so the 4 is done. Oh, this is unshaded, so that's unshaded. So now this needs to be shaded or I break the border rule. And now this is shaded, so that's shaded to avoid breaking the border rule. Okay, somehow I'm not seeing the last bit of this. Oh, it's the column. It's the column. In this column, I will break the border rule if I do that, and then presumably it will disconnect if I do that. There we go. Da 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 da. What a weird genre. Let's see. Okay, let's do one more regular Heyawake, and we'll call it good. By In Puzzles. Okay, I think this is the one I'm looking at. See you in Boston, Math Pesto. I was looking to see if I could see any Heyawakes, which is like Heyawakes, except the regions don't have to be square, which is a weird, like, it doesn't make any sense to me why they decided the region should be square to begin with, because it's not like that has any feature. But who knows? This 4, oops, greens those. Let's see now. Oh, this 4 greens those as well. No. Never mind. Yeah, you're going to mirror, but never mind. Yeah. Sorry. I switched back. Okay. The only 2 on this side. So this 0 needs, on either side, I need a black cell. And that actually means I need 4 total black cells in these 8 cells, which is the maximum number I could possibly get. And so I need 2 on this side, which is all of the 2 in this. I need 1 in the 1, and I need 1 in the 4, which I'm going to get regardless, so that one's not exciting. But that does get me a lot of extra green. And so in particular, it gets me that this cell needs to be shaded, or we have a border issue. And now we can fill in our 4 like that. Now that's shaded over here owing to that border rule. What else have we? What else we have? Border between the 0 and the 2. Yes. That one is shaded because of the border between the 0 and the 2 per Laura. And now that means that's unshaded because we have previously established that we have exactly enough to break everything up on either side of the 0. And so we get that over there. And so now we get that and that to break up the border rules over there. And now that's shaded to finish this border rule, which gives me lots more green. That one was the border rule there. Very good. By David, that is green. That's shaded to avoid border rule there, which gets me lots more green. So I know one of these 2 is shaded and one of these 2 is shaded, but that doesn't quite immediately get me anything. 3 total are shaded in these 6 cells. Row 7. Yes, row 7 indeed. Thank you, Laura. And so now that gives me 1 in this column, which gives me that, which then gives me that, in fact, which gives me both of these, in fact. That was a lot all at once. Let's see. Okay, so right. I need one of these to be shaded, and I need one of these to be shaded, is basically the point, because of the 1. I need one of these 2 to be shaded, and so if one of these 2 is shaded, all the rest of these are green. Just by counting. And so now that's definitely shaded. And now I know it's this one of these that's shaded, which now means that one of those is shaded. So we've got that. Likewise, I know one of these 2 is shaded to take care of the strings of green here. So those aren't, which now means that is. That's not shaded by connectedness. This puzzle has a very clear logical theme, which is very nice. Pencil puzzles don't always have a lot of theme to them. I do know one of these 2 is shaded. It's one of these, one of these. Row 3 just outright has a border rule. Thank you. To Laura. So we get that, and then we get to sort of bounce that back over there. Okay, and so now that needs to be shaded by the column, and that needs to be shaded by this column. And now this needs to be shaded by that column. These two are shaded, so these are all not. And now those two are shaded. Very nice. Alrighty, well, thank you for enjoying the zetamath pencil puzzle hour. Again, I'll be back on Tuesday with probably another shorter stream, just a little bit shorter. Thank you for spotting columns so I didn't have to count. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So probably a slightly shorter stream on Tuesday. On Sunday, there will be no stream because we'll be traveling back from Boston, but I look forward to seeing many of you at SudokuCon, so I hope to see you there. And have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.